All right, let's jump right in. Today we're focusing on one single, very powerful, and honestly, often misunderstood card in the tarot deck. We're going to demystify the chaotic, the intense, and the surprisingly insightful Five of Wands.
You know those days or maybe even weeks where everything just feels like an uphill battle, like you're constantly running into disagreements or trying to manage clashing personalities or just struggling to get a word in edgewise. Well, that exact feeling, that is the heart and soul of the card we're talking about today.
So here it is, the Five of Wands. When this card shows up, it's basically the tarot's way of signaling conflict. But, and this is important, it isn't always as bad as it sounds. It's really about the raw energy of competition, of struggle, and of disagreement. So let's unpack the story this card is trying to tell us.
Okay, let's start with the card in its upright position. When you pull it this way, it's a sign that the battle is right here, right now. It's out in the open, it's active, and it is absolutely demanding your attention. So let's dive into this energy. When the Five of Wands is upright, you can't miss it. We are talking about arguments, general opposition, and a real lack of cooperation. It's that feeling of pent-up energy that's just finally bubbling over. Imagine 5 different people all shouting at the same time. That's the vibe. It's chaotic, it's messy, and yeah, it usually involves some pretty big egos clashing.
So, this chaotic energy, how does it actually play out in our day-to-day lives? Let's break it down, and we'll start with something we can all relate to, our relationships. And what's really fascinating here is that this card is not a one-size-fits-all deal, especially in love. For some couples, the ones who thrive on debate and a bit of fire, this card might just point to a really passionate, dynamic phase. But for a couple that needs harmony to survive, this is a huge red flag. It's saying, hey, egos and tempers are getting in the way here.
Okay, now let's switch gears and talk about the workplace. When the Five of Wands shows up in a career reading, the message is almost always about one thing: competition.
And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? This is the core message for your professional life. Doesn't matter if you're in a super cutthroat field like sales, or dealing with creative differences on a project, or even just trying to get your ideas heard in a meeting. This card says you've got to be assertive. You're up against some big personalities, and to succeed, you really have to step up and fight for your spot.
And the struggle isn't always external. When it comes to your health, it can mean you're literally fighting off an illness, or maybe just dealing with the physical damage of high stress and constant adrenaline. And spiritually, it points to a battle inside yourself, where your own ego might be stirring up trouble and blocking you from finding your true path.
So, what happens when we flip the card over? The whole story changes. Upright is the battle happening right now, but reversed? That's all about what comes next. Is the fight finally over? Or is it about to get a whole lot worse?
All right, let's explore the reversed meaning. This is where the story gets really juicy because pulling this card upside down can point to 2 completely different outcomes.
Yeah, the reversed Five of Wands is tricky. On the one hand, it can mean the fight is over. Whew, ceasefire, everyone's putting their weapons down. But on the other hand, it can mean the conflict has just gone underground. All that anger and frustration, it's being suppressed, and it's building up into something way more serious.
So, the real question you have to ask yourself is, which path are you on? Is this the path to peace, where you're finally working together and finding solutions? Or is this the path to war, where everyone's too afraid of confrontation, so they just let the resentment simmer until it finally explodes?
And you'll see this split everywhere. In a relationship, it could be that a couple is finally finding their groove after a rough patch. Or it could mean one person feels totally intimidated and is just bottling everything up. At work, maybe your team is finally clicking and cooperating, or maybe you're just too scared to ruffle any feathers and fight for your ideas. Context is everything with this one.
Okay, so we've seen the open conflict of the upright card, and the complicated aftermath of the reversed one. How do we put all these pieces together to figure out what this card is trying to tell you?
This is it. This is the main takeaway. The Five of Wands isn't here to judge conflict as good or bad. It's just here to make you aware of the energy of conflict in your life. It's a powerful, dynamic force, and the real question the card is asking is, how are you going to handle it?
So here's a super simple but really powerful way to think about it. Step 1, just admit the conflict exists. Don't ignore it. Step 2, figure out what kind of energy it has. Is it loud and proud, or is it quiet and simmering? And then, step 3, you choose your path. Is this a time for healthy competition to push forward, or is it a time to step back and find a compromise?
At the end of the day, the Five of Wands is basically holding up a mirror to the struggles we all face. It's asking us to look at all that chaotic energy and make a decision. Are you going to let it tear everything down, or are you going to use it as fuel to build something new, something better? The choice, as always, is yours.